Hello everybody and welcome to my team builder for week 7. So as you know, me and Otto are the premier this week. So I kind of want to do something different and do this team builder. So I guess I'm going to start with what I plan to lead. So let's start with Tornadus Ludicolo. This is my game 1 lead. And I'll kind of explain why. So first off, let's just break down this Tornado set. Obviously, it's Wakamberry, Prankster, Tailwind, Swagger, Icy Wind, Air Slash, as you can see here. So the thing about this Tornado set, right, is I really need speed control in this matchup. Like he just he's got so much where he has Tailwind with Latias. He can do Scary Face, or he can go Thunder Wave with Grimsnarl, right? So I really do want a way where I can limit his options. And so if I have Tailwind, I mean that's obviously nice. But this is my first time running Icy Wind because I really do need to slow him down. And the thing about Swagger and Own Tempo is Rain Dance isn't great for me here. Like it's not insane. Now, it could help a little just doing extra damage with like Sharpedo or maybe even Ludicolo. But what's more important in my opinion is knockoff and getting rid of his items. So he knows that I'm really big on Scarf. And I could see a counter Scarf to my Scarf. Like I could see Scarf Latias just as a way to counteract a Scarf Garchomp. I could see Scarf Thundy just as a way to counteract Sharpedo with Speed Boost. So with him, what he really wants to do is he wants to be able to counteract any means of my speed control. So with knockoff, I actually do have a really big advantage if I can get rid of some of his items. So on top of that, knockoff Ludicolo looks really good offensively into his team. That's why I have Swagger and that's why I have One Tempo. And I don't actually feel like Rain Dance is incredibly necessary. I'm not against it. I thought about it for a long time. I was like, do I want to go Rain Dance, Swift Swim, Ludicolo? But I decided not to. And I mainly decided because of knockoff. And so if I could just get a Swagger, like if I'm in a position where I don't need an Icy Wind, I can just get a Swagger off, knock off into that Lati, do a bunch of damage, maybe even KO, and then have Brick Break for that screens, right? Because he's gonna want Reflect pretty badly, especially against kind of the stuff I'm bringing. He's gonna want Reflect up for sure, and maybe even Light Screen up depending on how Sylveon looks. But we'll get to that later. So I really like Brick Break, and then Waterfall does kind of look pretty solid. Assault Vest not only is nice because I'm not running Protect this week, but it helps me against Slazzle and it helps me against Lati and against something like E-Webs or Thunderbolt Thundy. So overall, I think this is a really good build. I am going to lead it mainly because I think this Fake Out is really, really strong. The speed I have on my Ludicolo, I believe, is to outspeed. I think it's to outspeed Scarf Thundy at +2. That should be what I EV'd it for. So that's kind of the goal. Tornado Ludicolo is my game 1 lead. I just think it looks really strong, and I guess in some sense, I'm kind of trolling. Like I'm not trolling, but last time I beat him, it was with Swagger on Tempo Ludicolo, and so it'd be funny to win again, and I also think it looks good. So there you go. So next set I got is actually the next two most important ones, which are Ditto and Sylveon. So let's just talk about this Ditto. It's going to be super easy. Obviously, pretty standard set. I guess there's not much you can do other than the really standard set. So I have Choice Scarf. The reason I think Ditto is so good in this matchup is for a couple of reasons. The first one is it gives me an extra immunity to electric type moves. And so, I am a little bit worried about Scarf Thundy. I think Otto might maybe troll a little in the sense where he brings Scarf Thundy just to bring Scarf Thundy into me because I love Scarf Thundy and I love Thunderous and I love Scarf. So I don't think he will because he is someone where when he takes it seriously, he takes it seriously. But I could see it happening. So it gives me that extra electric immunity. It also really does look good into like a lot of his mons beat themselves. So Latias beats itself. Terrakion beats itself. Grimmsnarl beats itself. And one of the things that I'm actually really also Dummies is a good example of that. Dummies. One of the things that I'm really thinking about is choice scarfing myself into Grimmsnarl. And that might be something if you're if you're watching when you watch the game, if you've seen this, watch out for me purposefully trying to go into Grimmsnarl to find out what he's doing, but also to get choice scarf spirit breaks. Because when you actually look at his team, especially in his fast mode, choice scarf spirit breaks look incredibly good. They beat Grimmsnarl, it beats Terrakion, it beats Slati and lowers his special attack. It lowers Thunderous's special attack. And on top of that, it also is decent against Salazzle because it can kind of neutralize a lot of the stuff that Salazzle wants to do. So I'm really thinking that this Ditto is going to be key into me winning. And I'm going to bring it game one, no matter what. My plan right now is Tornadus, Ludicolo, Ditto, Garchomp game one. And I have a couple different reasons for this. This might look different based on what he brings, but that's kind of what I'm thinking about. And I think the Ditto really is going to be a big key in this matchup. So, yeah, that's kind of my thought process in the Ditto. I haven't actually used it too well or used that much. I had some ideas for sets, and that I was even trying to use, but I never really got to use it. So this is a matchup that I think it looks really, really solid in. So next let's talk about Sylveon. Sylveon is kind of like, let's see what Auto brings, and then try it game 2, game 3, right? Now, if you'll notice the EVs in the Babiri, the main thing that I wanted to do was to live a 252 Adamant or Brave gear grind from Klinkling. That takes 132 EVs, and then I only need 100 to outspeed Salazzle at +2, and I didn't really want to put any more because then I'd have to take out a special attack and take out a defense. Mainly take out a special attack, so I was like, okay, I'll leave it there. And then I realized I could go 252 plus with special attack, and I just had like 24 EVs left over. So I decided to go with the set Hyper Beam, Hyper Voice, Protect, Mystical Fire. Weirdly enough, I think Hyper Beam looks really good in this matchup. There are just a lot of things to where if he sets up a light screen, I mean literally just launching off Hyper Beams into Grimmsnarl just looks really, really solid. And so I have Mystical Fire kind of just, to neutralize damage and also there for that clean playing that kind of gives me some problems. So pretty simple set, but I do think it looks really good. Again, this is more of a game 2, game 3 type of thing. Depending on how I want to adjust Sylveon's there. Sylveon's just a really good adjustment option based on how like my Tornadus, Ludicolo, or Ditto Chomp stuff do. So Sylveon is really just one of those. I think it looks really good here, and I am prioritizing it like it was one of the first things I built because it literally just looks so good. But yeah, it's really there to give me an extra option into a lot of his team, depending on whether or not he does bring that triple fairy weakness, right? Or if he goes kind of strong with like Dumb Eyes, Klinkling, Salazzle type stuff. And if he like let's say he goes Dumb Eyes, Klinkling, Salazzle, and then he like doesn't bring Grimmsnarl or Terrakion, for example. That would be one instance where, I don't want Sylveon, so I didn't want to like plan around it, but I also think it looks good. Like if he brought Thunderous, for example, instead of Terrakion, then that would be an instance where Sylveon just doesn't look as good. right? It still looks really solid, especially defensively into Grimsnarl and Latias. Um, but yeah, it's just there kind of to give me an extra option. So next we have Garchomp. So the first thing you'll notice is Sharpedo don't have Sash. And that's really important because part of me feels like I need to play Auto in a way where he won't expect it, right? I need Auto to not see what's coming. And so that's part of the reason for Focus Sash. I also think it actually does look good here. And the reason being is, if I'm Auto, I think very hard about going Draco Meteor versus Ice Beam because I could see myself going Havenberry or even going Yachi, right? I don't want to just be in front of a Lati. So to be honest, I think it's more likely that he brings Ice Beam without Draco Meteor than it is he brings Draco Meteor without Ice Beam. But yeah, I think it looks really good. And Skill Shot's actually a pretty big reason for this as well. If I want to outspeed stuff like Lati, and I'm doing this Scale Shot stuff, and I'm kind of like, I'm aiming towards the side that isn't Grimmsnarl, a Spirit Break could hurt because I am lowering my defenses. Now, defenses don't really matter a bunch, but it does really matter, like at least in this matchup, but it does matter against that Grimmsnarl because Spirit Break can literally just do chunks. So, if I'm in the situation where I have like 2 Scale Shots off and he's really threatening a Spirit Break, having that Focus Sash is really nice. So, it just looks really, really solid against a lot of his team. So, yeah, I just think, yeah, so Iron Head for Grimmsnarl, Stopping Tantrum for, Terrakion stuff, and especially Klinkling, and Slazzle. I had some other ideas. I guess I can't really say them because me and Otto are basically both in playoffs right now. So, I don't think it's likely that, I think it's likely that we play again. Right, so I don't want to say everything, but I had a bunch of ideas and I just landed on this Focus Sash. So, what is my Sharpedo? And this is kind of weird set, kind of interesting set. So first off, I have Life Orb, and really part of me just wants to go in against a lot of his mons, right? I want those powerful crunches straight into Dumb Eyes. I want to launch off Life Orb liquidations into stuff like Grimmsnarl and Klinkling. So I really want that extra damage, and then you also see the Icy Wind. And I realized this last night when I was prepping was any ways he has to reduce my speed control with Sharpedo is pretty inconsistent, right? He can't go Grimmsnarl because I'm Dark type, and he can't Prankster a Dark type. It's hard for him to go Lati Tailwind because I literally just launch back with my own Tailwind. The main way that he can outspeed my team has to be like Scarf, like a Scarfmon that is either Terrakion or Thunderous, and he has to go Tailwind on Lati. And that's just so inconsistent. And when I realized this, I realized that Icy Wind looks really, really strong on Sharpedo because it can really set up for a lot of my other mons, like Grimmsnarl or a Scarf Lati or a Scarf Terrakion, do actually threaten pretty badly. So I decided to go with Sharpedo and specifically with the Icy Wind. And obviously, you always want Protect on Sharpedo, like, unless you're, really gutsy and you're just like going all in. But ultimately, I decided that, Icy Wind did look really good here, and it's something that he will not expect. And I would love for him to play around a Sash on Sharpedo that isn't there. And I would love for him to not play around a Sash that's on Garchomp when it actually is there, right? So it really, really kind of worked out this week where I could kind of change stuff up. So before I end the video, I think I went over all the mons, kind of what their goal is. My goal, game 1, is to go Tyrannus, Ludicolo, and then Garchomp Ditto in the back. Game 2, I'm just going to adjust as I see fit with Sylveon, or I could really see, depending on how Ludicolo does, kind of taking it away for game 2 and game 3, and maybe go someone like Sylveon Tornaius lead, or Sylveon Garchomp lead with someone like Sharpedo in the back. So as for the 6, I'm thinking he's going to bring Grimmsnarl has to come. Grimmsnarl has to come this week. So he's definitely bringing Grimmsnarl. Latias. Latias has to come in. I thought about this. I think a lot of my team does look really good against Latias. But at the same time, I do think it's pretty good. So I'm thinking Grimmsnarl Latias. But I also think that he doesn't want to give me too many fairy weaknesses because he does think Sylveon looks good into my team. So I think with that, he also will go Salazzle and Klinkling. So I think he's probably going to have something like Latias, Grimmsnarl, Salazzle, Klinkling, Delmise, and I'm thinking Thundurus as well. And, maybe that team doesn't sound like the best, but it does actually have a lot of options for me. I think he might bring something like Sunny Day Latias. And I think that Grimmsnarl is going to be Screen's Scary Face. But I could also see him doing Fake Out. And one of the things about Otto is that last time we played, he brought Own Tempo in DB just to fake me out because he knew that I like going Scarf. So part of me feels like maybe he's going to prioritize something like Fake Out Screams or Fake Out Scary Face Fake Tears because he knows what I like to do. He knows how I like to play. So that's kind of set I'm expecting on Grimmsnarl. I could see Latias not coming and instead it being Terrakion. However, I just really think that some of the damage from Lati is nice. Actually, now that I look at it, if he brings Lati, it's mainly for Tailwind, and I don't think it's for anything else. So I could actually see him not bring Lati. Okay, so my final 6 are going to be Grimmsnarl, Thundurus, Delmise, Klinkling, Salazzle. And I think I'm going to go with the idea that he goes Lati for speed control. For sure. So, and he has some nice stuff like Sunday and stuff. So, anyway, that is my team builder for week 7. I'm really nervous about this match. If you don't know, this match most likely will determine who becomes first seed. If he wins, I cannot get first seed. If I win, he can actually still get first seed. Now I have a matchup that's maybe a bit better for next week. I have I guess 06 person next week. So their video hasn't come out even though I know the results. So they're 06 right now, and yeah. So I think that if I win this week, I'm in a really really good position to win that first seed, which would be really nice. I remember playing in the wild card 2 seasons ago, and I hated it. I absolutely hated playing in the wild card round. It's really, really nerve wracking. It can be really hard to kind of keep your chill when you feel like you were so close to actually getting that first seed, right? And so what happened a couple seasons ago was I choked really hard on my last week to lose that first seed. So if that was to happen again, I'd be I'd be a little bit frustrated. So I really want that first seed. Don't want to go into the wild card round. It's always really scary, and everyone there is really good. And so just playing against an extra opponent that's good is really scary. So, yeah, that's kind of the goal. Try and take a win this week. And, yeah, I will see you guys, I guess, on Sunday. When you see me, hopefully, crossing my fingers, beat Otto. So, that'll be it, and I will see you guys later. Bye.